We interrupt our regularly scheduled weekly video to bring you this breaking news. Parents and grandparents, listen up. This concerns you, and this is not a drill. In a stunning turn of events, sources have confirmed that every child born after 2024 can now receive a bank account with a free $1,000 from the federal government. I'll walk through what we know so far, so don't touch that dial. We have a lot to cover as we break down the new baby savings plan, also known as the Trump account. Hey everyone, this is AJ, your ace in the hole, and welcome to the channel where we simplify personal finance and provide tips for young adults and others just starting out. And sometimes we help out by sifting through 870 pages of government legislation. So if you're familiar with the channel, as you know, we primarily focus on financial education for young adults and tips for parents. So of course we had to cover this breaking news. So if you're wondering what this is all about, this is groundbreaking legislation as a part of the H.R. 1 One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed by Congress and signed into law on July 4, 2025 by President Trump. Now for starters, I'm going to lead off with one big beautiful disclaimer. This is all pretty brand new at the time of this recording, and some of the details are still forthcoming, but there are a number of key points established in the bill that I'll cover today. So stick around, as this might be a great new savings opportunity for families to help supercharge their children's financial situation, and starting at birth. For starters, what is a Trump account? To keep it simple, this new account is a government-facilitated savings account for children with tax benefits, investment options, and age-based withdrawal rules. It's created at birth by the Secretary of Treasury or a parent or guardian, and receives a one-time free $1,000 contribution, compliments of the federal government, commonly referred to as seed money, just to start things off. Think of it like a starter IRA, but for babies. Now, this could mean thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars for your child by the time they're an adult, but we'll get into the numbers in a minute. The program launches 12 months after the law's enactment, so mark your calendars for July 4, 2026 to open an account for the kiddos. So, who is eligible? To qualify for an account, the child must be under the age of 18 during the year the account is created, be a U.S. citizen with a valid Social Security number, and if you're expecting a child soon or have recently had one, also pay attention, since any child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 will receive the free $1,000, at least for now. Now let's break down the money part. In addition to the free $1,000, parents and guardians can also contribute up to $5,000 per year per child. So all that birthday money, yeah, that can help too. Contributions are after tax, so there's no tax deduction on deposits, but the $5,000 limit will begin adjusting for inflation starting in 2027. Parents' employers can also chip in up to $2,500 per year, which is also not considered taxable income. Major CEOs and companies are already expected to contribute billions to support these accounts through employer contributions. This might develop into a new company perk, but time will tell. In fact, Michael Dell, CEO of Dell Technologies, has already stated that his company plans to match the government's contributions dollar for every child born to a Dell team member. And more good news, none of these contributions count against any other IRA or 529 plan limits. Okay, now let's talk some numbers. You might be thinking, how much can this money really grow? Well, if you just leave the government's $1,000 alone in the account without any more contributions, and it earns a modest 8% compounding return, that will grow to about $4,200 in 18 years and nearly $11,000 in 30 years. Keep in mind the average return of the S&P 500 over the past 30 years has been closer to 10%, so growth might even be more. Now let's look at a couple more scenarios. First, if parents were to repeat the $1,000 contribution annually until age 18, the account would now grow to over $44,000 by age 18. And if they can swing the max contribution of $5,000 each year for the same period, this now grows to over $203,000 by age 18. And then, if left to sit invested with no more contributions until age 30, the account will grow to over $530,000, over $500,000. If you want to play around with your own scenarios, I'll link a couple of compound interest calculators in the description below. Now, one fun fact to consider, if we take that initial $1,000 and multiply that by the 3.6 million babies born annually in the U.S., that's over $360 billion additional dollars being invested in the stock market every year, helping all the other babies grow their accounts as well by helping the overall stock market performance. As far as using this money, currently there's limited guidance that could always change, but for now, qualified use is thought to include college or higher education expenses, a first-time home purchase, or expenses associated with starting a business. Additionally, there are some proposed age limitations as well, with no withdrawals allowed prior to age 18, partial withdrawals allowed at age 18, and full withdrawals allowed at age 25, but only for qualified use up to this point. The account becomes fully accessible and available for any other use at age 30. Again, this is all preliminary, so this could certainly change. Now let's touch on the investment options I referred to at the beginning of the video. The account is designed so that the money won't just sit in cash, but is designed to be safe and low cost. The money must be invested in qualified index funds or ETFs or exchange-traded funds, such as those tracking the S&P 500 or other U.S.-focused indexes. Additionally, annual fees for these funds must be capped at 0.1% of the account balance and must be funds with no leverage, meaning the funds can't be those that borrow money against the funds to inflate performance. Check out our previous video on saving and investing here, which shows the 10 and 20-year investment holding performance of the S&P 500, which is quite astounding and is very relative in the case of these accounts. Now, while there are no taxes on contributions, since it's after-tax money, earnings will be taxed depending on how the money's used. There's still some varying guidance, but there are a few common themes, which I assume is the best bet for now. If the money's used for qualified use, as described earlier, withdrawals are taxed at the lower capital gains rate, which, if you're familiar with capital gains rates, can equate to zero taxes up to a point. Otherwise, they're taxed at ordinary income rates. Currently, there are no published early withdrawal penalties. However, it has been suggested that unqualified withdrawals may result in higher taxes. A quick heads up, the law also includes penalties to prevent misuse. If an account is set up for an ineligible child due to negligence or disregard, there's a $500 penalty. If it's outright fraud, the penalty jumps to $1,000. So be sure your child is eligible before opening an account. There are a number of factors to consider with a Trump account. At a minimum, it's probably well worth the free $1,000 to sit invested for 18 years just to give your child a financial head start. This can be a great option either as a primary savings tool for a newborn or in conjunction with the many other savings options that already exist. So do your diligence to understand the differences, as there may be alternatives based on your personal situation. For example, you might start your child off with a Trump account while they have no earned income. Then add a custodial Roth IRA once they start earning money from side jobs. Check out our video here on Roth IRAs to understand those benefits. And if you're one of those adventurous types, I'll provide a link to the entire bill in the description below, so you can check it out for yourself. The Trump account can be found in Chapter 2, Delivering on Presidential Priorities to Provide New Middle-Class Tax Relief, within Section 7204. Let me know in the comments if you come across any other information that can help with additional insight. I'll also be watching things closely as more information becomes available, and we'll be sure to post an updated video on any progress or significant changes if it makes sense. Either way, hopefully this sheds some light on the possibilities and potential this new savings account might provide to help kickstart your child's finances as soon as possible, taking advantage of the free $1,000 and the compounding growth throughout their entire childhood and beyond. In closing, I hope you found this video informative, and if so, be sure to share it with others, especially parents that might benefit as well. Finally, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, especially for any updates on this topic. And be sure to check out our previous video on the power of compounding interest to really put the potential of this new savings option into perspective. And I hope to see you in the next one. This is AJ, your ace in the hole. See ya!